Hello, student. Today, let's talk about retailing today. With this class, you will learn two buzzwords in marketing. First one is 7Ps. So we learn about 4Ps, which is the marketing mix, but there's the 3 additional Ps related to the services, and also retailing contains a lot of that service component. So today we will talk about these additional 3Ps. So in these, when we talk about the marketing mix, you should keep in mind there's all 7Ps. And then another one is the omni-channel. Omni-channel is now almost that every business doing. So you should also learn about this term. So if you're considering to have a career with marketing, this will be some of the common words that you will face while you're at work and also when you have a job interviews. So make sure that you understand these words. So retailing means that all the activities directly relate to the sale of the goods and services to the ultimate consumers for personal and non-business use. So it really takes the ideas of some of the concepts that we have learned from the consumer behavior to figure out how and why people buy it, where they buy it from, and also what's their outlets of the choice, and then what are those activities and the shopping habits they have. So some areas of those habits and practices and how we can make it streamlined, and then how we make sure that consumers buy from us. So let's talk about the level of distribution intensity. If you're on a manufacturer like Coca-Cola, you might say, how intensely do I want to be distributed? So what's my retailing distribution and the level of the intensity? For most convenient to the shopping goods, we want to have intensive distributions for those who active mass marketing selling. And then you have a lot of intermediaries. So when you take a look at something like the Pepsi or Coke, they just want to be everywhere. They just want to be at the drugstore, convenience store, grocery, restaurants, and so on. So the more exposure the products gets, the more the sell. So if your objectives are an intensive distribution, you need to have a trade sales and the sales structures that supports that. And then make sure that all your products get to all those different store fronts. You may want to have the selective distribution, which means that you only want to work with the certain intermediaries or the certain channels. So shopping goods or some specialty goods, you have several that decide through. Exclusive distribution. This is where you want to only be sold in the one place, or the one contractually bound only be sold at the one place. These are things like the car dealers. So people in the equipment industry where you may just have a one place that they are available, or the limited number of the exclusive dealership. Also, the private labels create an exclusive distribution channel as well. That's the kind of the manufacturer's point of view and how they just deal with those front-facing retailers. So this is a kind of important to think about when you think about what retailers are you choose as partners and how we can interact with their products. So what is the retailers? There's so many retailers here. And then after this class, you can figure out each store. They have the different types of the retail store, and then you can distinguish them. So far, as a marketer, we just keep talking about consumers, what they buy. Like Procter & Gamble, they concerned with what you do buy for the laundry detergent, and then what brands the consumers choose. But actually, the retailer's concern is not what we as a consumer buy, but they are just concerned about where we buy and then from whom. So let's say you're at Walmart. You will be happy if the consumers buy Tide, but also will be happy they just buy just a private label detergent. And even you're happy they just buy different brands. So the retailers want you to come their store and then spend a good deal of the time and then come to their website, fill your basket on their website, and then check out. So that's what retailer is concerned with. And then one of their big efforts is the promotional efforts is to drive the people to the website to do their shopping, or to drive people to the brick and mortar store. So there's a lot of different types of retailers. Oftentimes we heard that retailing is going down to Tom or retail apocalypse. That's something we hear in business. And when we think about retailing, well, we only spend the 3% of our income on clothing. In addition, just good portion of gas. Those are the things that the more they rely on the brick and mortar experience. But we also shopping in the summer that fairly conveniently located either the warehouse or the retail store. We go Costco, TJ Maxx, HEB, Walgreens, Dollar Tree. This day, dollar stores have a great growth right now. And then these retailers are just hard and soft goods. But also there are a lot of services out there. It's all service providers, restaurants, banks, theaters, or gym. We spend 30% of our disposable income of the retailing, which is the food. And even now we do a lot of ordering food. And there's a lot of folks that out there that they're in the retail area. So when you hear say something the retail style, actually that's not true. As long as the consumer is spending money, they're spending at retailers. We see some shifts in the way that what we buy, where we buy, some channels, but still retail is very viable industry. So in the following slides, I have gone through all different types of the stores in details with the examples. Please read carefully on your own and then learn what these different types of the retail stores are. And I'm sure you can see from this list. So it's a very broad area of the business. And one of the major changes that we see is when it comes to the people buying goods, is that what we are seeing more and more private label growth, which means retailers creating their own goods, having them to contract the manufacturer to do that instead of the buying the national brand, or in addition to having the national brand. So private label is a growing area 8 times fast as national brands. And why this is happening? Well, retailers have some of the data of retailer. So retailer like HEB, they know what Procter & Gamble's products sell the best, and then they understand which ones they should create for something like that. Perhaps there also might be a gap in the marketplace, and then they catch that, and then they just produce as the HEB branded goods. Those retail stores have data. However, the manufacturer have to go to them to get the data. So that's another reason why we are seeing the power shift from the manufacturer to the retailer. Because now we have the exclusive goods to private labels. They have more loyal relationship with the people who buy from them. For example, people love to buy Kirkland brand in the Costco, and consumers really enjoy Up and Up brand in the Targets. And even Target's private label clothing brand become popular. One of the main initiatives of Target is right now is especially the apparel to come up with the more private label goods to gain more the loyalty with the consumers, with their different customers that come in. So they get people and then come back from time to time again for those products. So when they have these private label brands, that gives them the unique offering, which is not available somewhere else, and then makes the retailer as more as a destination location. So when we see these processes, we see more and more companies that are vertically integrated. Perhaps they're buying backward into the supply chain. So for some of the items, they might want to have a consistent basis. So when we look at the private label goods, the supply chain systems are more seamless. Trader Joe's make the contract manufacturers of all of their products, and then they have a pretty easy operation for getting those goods at the right time and in the right place. Because they manage the both manufacturing processes and then logistics and then distribution processes. So when we look at the private labels, it can be the copycat brands, which means they just take a look at something, the national brand out there, and then they just copy or mimic it. But also you can have a private label brand, and some of them are just better than the other folks that out there. Traders will be proud of having a lot of premium private label brands, not necessarily at the comparable to the what's out there, but having their own unique experience and then their own unique branding. So it is a way that they deal with each of the different product categories they work in, and that's the kind of the private label component. When we look at retailing, they have to figure out what's their marketing mix going to be. So we talk about 4 P's of the marketing mix, which is the traditional marketing mix, and then we are going to add up a couple more. So if you're retail, first you need to figure out products. What's your merchandise with the DAFs gonna be? For example, Walmart has a broad assortment, and then they have many different categories, but so you can find a lot of things there, but there is not very deep. A good example would be if you wanted to go to buy a bicycle, let's say you're in Walmart, then you just might have the 3 good bicycles for the adult woman. And if I really wanted to buy a great bike, then I should go to the bike store. The bike store has the bike goods, and some of their merchandise assortment is very narrow, just only bikes or some accessories, but very deep. I probably have a 25 or the 30 or just more bikes to choose from that. So that is the one example. So you have to figure out your product mix going to be. Am I going to have a broad assortment or the narrow assortment, or have a specialty item, or what kind of things I'm going to have? And are you carrying the manufacturer's brand, or are you carrying just private label brands, or carry both? HEB carries both. So you have to figure out what your product mix can be, and then that can be your concept of the retailer store. That's the first decision. Then how are you going to be priced? The price positioning as a retailer also tells about a lot how they're positioned in the marketplace. So are they have a higher and a low price or EDLP? We talk about these in the chapter 15 pricing. So Walmart and Aldi, they have the everyday low price and the high low. People usually have the both things, high prices, then they have some sales in some seasons. So do you sell the stuff to a manufacturer suggested retail price, or how do you manage discounts? Or how do you manage your markdown? Are you a value retailer, or are you a luxury retailer? Which are you? So that can also identify your identity. Next, your distribution channel. Talk about the location. So are you going to have these locations? What hours going to be open? What are all these point of differences? What's your channel strategy? Are you going to available in the online or pickup? How do you do things? So your distribution strategies has a lot to do with your positions as well. So right now, your distribution strategies or modality, when it comes to online, not online needs to the fairly accessible. Now, online needs to be fairly accessible to the people. So you need to make sure that people have the access to shop in your store and all the items. So you have to figure out how you can accessible to pick up the delivery or to get the delivery. So Amazon is primarily just be a logistic chain. They have just figured out the ways to get the order, to get the convenience from that. So the distribution and logistics are on a great concern in the area of the great huge investment right now for the retail establishments. And then what's your promotional strategies? How are you going to take the connect people? Are you going to have an app? Are you going to have a flyers? Or are you going to have the partnerships, the manufacturer partnerships, or with the local organizations? How do you manage that? So those covers the 4 P's, products, price, place, promotion. And then we have 3 more P's. In addition to 4 P's, service demands 3 additional P's: process, presentation, and personal. And then retailer have a lot of components of the services. So we consider 7 P's here as well. So process is the take on action to get a good or services to consumers. Retailing entails a lot of process from the ordering merchandise to transmitting credit card sales, and many of them the services features. So the smooth process is important for the service and the retailing. Like the smooth reservation process, fast checkout time, and then they accept the credit card or the different payment methods. They're all related to process. And process is important for the customer's relationship management and then the share of the wallet. Next, how you manage your personal. Are you gonna have a lot of personal density on the floor in your brick and mortar store? If you're online, you might have a live chat there. So how do you manage the customer service and the personal selling? The more complex goods you are, the more you want to do that. So Best Buys have a lot of people on the floor with the blue shirts, and then we expect them to be an expert, and then they help us. Last, presentation. And then how are you going to manage our atmosphere? How are we going to look like? So the big store footprint or small, what's going to be look like, the big store footprint or small? I sometimes going into Costco and I feel overwhelming. It's too big to me. So I'm more or less kind of a small footprint person, like Trader Joe's. So I can get in and I can get out. And I don't have to just get a lot of the massive warehouse. So if I want to just going to take a walk, I just want to walk in the outside. So that's the what atmosphere gonna be like. And this is the photo of the Starbucks Reserve in Chicago, one of the largest Starbucks premium store. And you can see that the design and the interior is a very premium and then luxurious. So this, you can tell this is very premium. You can see the design and the interior is very premium and luxurious to show their largest flagship Reserve store identity. It has the 4 floors, and then each floors have the different theme, including the grocery, bakery, bar, mixing with the liquor with the espresso. So they just try to show their coffee identity with the premium image. And all these 7 P's are important to increase the share of wallets. And another decision that you have to make is the level of service. How much services are we going to have happen? Are you going to have a high level of service or a low level of service? Costco more like self-service. There are no sales clerk to explain you to do, and they just check in. There are no sales clerks to explain to you and then just checking in. They mainly check out and then trying to get the shelf stocked. However, the Saks Avenue case, we expect some services. And also there are some folks in the middle between. So you need to figure out how much of the services component are you going to add to your business. Normally businesses that have the higher service components, they have higher personal density, usually higher price goods, or the higher and more complexity and more service required as expected. Walmart versus Amazon. This is a big battle that is still going on today. So those two providers really want to do a lot in the retail dollars. So they have these broad assortments. Walmarts are everywhere. The Walmart stores, I think, just within 10 miles, and they're just everywhere, all of us. And 140 million people, they just shop at Walmart each week. And then the biggest retail in the US, and they have that around 500 billion in sales. So what is a Walmart good at? They got that everyday low pricing, and we like that. They just got the good omni-channel services, but they also have a good convenience store locations with the long hours of the operation. So if you want to go in somewhere, and then we know that they are going, if we just go somewhere, we know there will be Walmart. But what about Amazon? Amazon's advantages are that we can get anything from 2 days. So they have very adaptive business models and then constantly changing, constantly innovating. So they have seen a good growth in the Prime and their subscription services. Walmart's also now coming out with the subscription services. And Amazon also try to do the different directions with the access to the entertainment content to continue to leverage their relationship with the consumers and then get more depth to their platform. And also, what is the Walmart do really well is Walmart got a better turnover inventory. So you know that bring a limited amount of things in, so they just turn things fast and then generate cash faster. So they have a good cash flow model, and through utilizing scale and then having a good cost containment and then generating the quick turn to the merchandise. Amazon's got a little higher return on the equity, but the Amazon's exceedingly well capitalized with a lot of people investing in Amazon. And then they having a great equity ratio on their balance sheets. But let's talk about some of the problematics or some challenges for Amazon. But this is not only the Amazon's problem, this is kind of industry problem for the online channel. So the thing is that the managing reverse logistics. How do we manage when someone orders something from us that $15 with the free shipping for free, and then they just return it? And then even we have to just cover the cost for shipping. So this is causing a lot of the sustainability issue as well. A lot of the packaging is going back and forth, and then return the goods are not just being dealt with. They're just stacking up in the warehouse. So the reverse logistics for the online selling is always somewhat problematic. Then the return level of the something we buy online is 3 or 4 more times higher than when we buy in stores. Normally, when we buy something in store, we have the opportunity to take a look at it, and we can touch it, and we can read the specifications, but we cannot do it with the online things. So the reverse logistics for online is very high. Nordstrom claims that the 50% of the returns in the goods that they sell online. And a lot of the management of those goods coming back in is a lot of burden on their cost structures. So Amazon versus Walmart is kind of the one of things that you will look at, and then when you talk about in the retailing today. This is very important issues. So you cannot talk about retail without these two dominant players and the work they have done really scale up there. So this is part 1. In the next video, I will talk about omni-channel strategy. Thanks for watching.